On this episode of Team Pilipinas, we look at how our Olympians stack up against the rest of the world. Multiple billiards world champion Rubilin Amit is back to her regular training grind. We discover obstacle course racing. And we look back on the days of glory of six-time world speed shooting champion Jet Dionisio. Welcome to Team Pilipinas. I am Sel Guevara. 19 Filipino athletes have qualified for the Tokyo Olympics, one of the biggest delegations in recent memory. But if we were to look closely, how many of them can make history by bringing home an elusive gold medal?
Coach Jong, a pleasant day sa iyo and maraming salamat sa pagsama sa amin.
Yes, good afternoon, Dennis, and I'm glad to be here. No? Right now, kararating lang namin from Serbia and we are undergoing our protocols. So,
Ayun.
maraming salamat.
Okay. Now, Coach, hindi ko alam kung ano ba sabihin natin. Kung congratulations, good job, great job. Kasi obviously, no, marami kayong pinasayang mga kababayan natin. Nandito pa lang tayo sa Clark, talaga namang marami ng masaya. Pero overall ba, to analyze everything, lahat na nagawa natin, how would you describe itong kumbaga biyahe ng itong bagong batch ng Gilas with you around?
Ang positive naman dito, syempre we always like to look at the positive aspect, no, na may improvement at least from the time we all started last year in Bahrain. May improvement. So maski a little improvement every month, every day, every bubble, at least meron, di ba? We're not saying that it was a drastic improvement, but it is already a very big improvement from the Bahrain bubble that we had last year. So it's good. We feel that medyo yung pagod ng player at saka yung pagod ng mga coaches is being nagmamaterialize, kumbaga.
Coach, it's good na lately busy ka, no? Active ka sa social media, no? Nakikita natin yung Facebook mo, no? But tama ba yung natin, kumbaga yung basa ko rito na before the bubble dito sa atin, yung excitement is not as kumbaga as big as nung pumasok na tayo ng Indonesia, tapos yung second game against Korea. Parang before the Korean game, meron pa nga sinasabi, nako, tamba ka naman tayo. No? Na-feel mo ba yung difference, Coach, nung before Korea 1 and after the Korea 1 game?
Kasi the expectations before the game, before the window 3 bubble dito sa Clark, medyo hindi positive. Walang the expectations or there were negative expectations, as you said, mga bata, bakit yan ang pinadala and so forth and so on, they're still young. But we all have to understand also that it is also a development program, no? Pero not saying that because it is a development program, we will accept all the losses already, no? Hindi naman natin tatanggapin yun. But we are, at the end of the day, we also want to win. Pero kailangan balansehin natin yung development and winning at all costs because we are also looking to the future, no? Ngayon nung nanalo yung Korea, yes, people will say na maswerte lang, which is I mean the shot was lucky, but we also worked to get there to that lucky shot, di ba? So, pinagtrabahuan lang to get there because kung hindi namin or nang tinabro yung player, we will never get the chance to make that lucky shot or else talo na tayo, di ba? So we also give credence to yung pagod ng player to get to that lucky shot. Now, so then Indonesia, I think Indonesia, there was more expectation to play well because Indonesia, alam naman natin that in the Southeast Asian region, tayo yung nangunguna. So that was probably a given, no? Or the expectation was very high. Tapos come the Korea game na naman, yun, medyo nagkakumpiyansa na ng konti yung mga player and of course the supporters, the Gila supporters, mga kapwa Pilipino, yun, the expectations became higher already because we won the first game. So fortunately naman, manalo ulit sa Korea in a more, hindi naman say convincing, no? But hindi na lucky shot, kumbaga. So, but it was still a game. It could have been anybody's ball game, yung dalawang laro. And then yung China nga, nag-scrimmage game, and then 79 all. So pataas ng pataas yung expectation. Tapos, then Serbia. So pataas ng pataas ang expectations. But remember, we are in the developmental stage. So we are improving, yes, but we are not yet there.
Coach, nabanggit mo na rin yung sa Korea. Alam mo, ikaw naalala ko rin, yung sinasabing lucky shot daw. No? Ikaw naman naalala ko, Lee Sang-min. No? Ikaw nandun. Nung bang ginawa ni Belangel yun, para bang, pwede na ba nasabi na, Lee Sang-min, nakabawi na ako sa'yo. Korea, nakabawi na ako sa inyo.
Yes, you feel good. I only treat it as that game. Yung game na nanalo tayo, na shoot ni SJ, and then even in 2014 when we beat Korea here in Manila in the FIBA Asia, I take that game as it is. Kasi pag sinabi mong nabawi, ibig sabihin nun, nung 2000, parang hindi nasasama yung loob mo ng 2002. Pero pag naiisip mo yung 2002, sumasama pa rin yung loob mo. So, wala, no, para sa akin, wala eh. I take that game, we won, yes, but if I think about 2002, sumasama pa rin loob ko because we could have had a chance, di ba? So no connection ba? I can say that, like you say, if I may say pala na, no connection. We won, I'm happy, but if I think about 2002, we lost, I'm sad. I feel bad. So, yun.
Well, siguro sa mga fans na lang din yun, ano? At sa may mga observers, kasi syempre iba yung thinking ng coaches at saka iba yung emotions ninyo, no? After all, countless na, no? Matuturing na countless wins and losses in a way, ang pinagdadaanan ninyo. So yung mga ganun, para kung babalikan, okay, pero nakaka-move on naman, kumbaga. Tama ba yun?
Yes, you move on. Tapos na yun, 2002 is gone. Tuloy-tuloy lang. You just move on and improve on the past.
Sige, huwag na natin pag-usapan. Total, sabi mo, sumasama na ang loob mo pag naalala mo.
Pero coach, tapos na yun. Tapos na yun. Yeah.
Pero coach, before the Clark bubble, ano, paano ba yung thinking ng coaches? Sabi mo nga, Bahrain pa lang na prepare na yung mga bata, no? Pero ano ba talaga yung feeling mo lang sa coaching staff, no? Papasok tayo ng Korea na ready na tayo pero tignan natin kung kaya. Or kayo ba nasabi niyo na ready na tayo, tatalunin natin sila? Ano ba yung mas apt dun sa dalawa na yun?
In between. Kumbaga in between that we know that we will compete with Korea. The result, we are not very sure. Pero kasi many factors before entering the Korea game that gave us a plus-minus. Unang-una is, syempre, most of their players are also new in the sense new in international competitions. Bago rin sila medyo nag-changing of the guards na rin sila. I think they have 2 or 3 veterans, if I'm not mistaken. Pero the rest, in terms of international exposure, medyo, though they are professionals in Korea, pero international exposure, parang halos developmental stage na rin sila. Parang changing of the guards, but they do have veterans. That's one na medyo may pag-asa tayo kasi halos patas lang tayo in that sense. Second is the coach. Bago rin yung coach, medyo 50-50 because hindi natin alam ang style. Pero in terms of experience, bago rin siya as a head coach. So medyo nangangapa tayo in that aspect. So almost blind tayo but almost also kumpiyansa since we are all in the same footing. Hometown, yes, hometown in the sense that we are playing in the Philippines, pero ang hometown is crowd, which we did not have. So 50-50 in that aspect. Ano lang tayo, we're just in our hometown feeling. So coming into that game, we really did not know what to expect. Yan, in bottom line. We did not know what to expect. Firstly, because wala kaming scrimmage game. Hindi namin alam kung paano magre-react and play in certain situations. And this will be that Korea game is the first scrimmage game that we had. So hindi natin alam kung paano magre-react ang players. So what we said was just stay together. Whatever happens in the game, stay together. Keep your composure and just keep playing hard. Yun lang. And then, and then everything will hopefully be all right.
All right, Coach Jong Wichiko, maraming salamat sa iyo. Good luck and until next time.
Multiple billiards world champion Rubilin Amit is back to her regular training grind. We discover obstacle course racing. And we look back on the days of glory of 6-time world speed shooting champion Jet Dionisio.
Bahagi na ng buhay nating mga Pilipino ang sports. Mula sa panahon ng unos, sa tamis ng tagumpay, sa kabila ng pagbabago ng buhay, ang Philippine Sports Commission ay patuloy na maglilingkod sa sambayanan at atletang Pilipino.
Welcome to Team Pilipinas. I am Nisi Icasiano. The sport of billiards in the Philippines will forever be synonymous with Efren Bata Reyes. But one lady made a gallant effort to prove that there is still room for one. She defied odds, broke gender barriers, won gold medals, and eventually became a world champion. She's none other than Rubilin Amir. Rubilin, welcome to Team Pilipinas.
Hi, good afternoon, sir, and good afternoon to all the viewers. Maraming salamat for having me.
First of all, how are you, especially during this time of uncertainty? Was it like for a celebrated Q artist in the so-called new normal?
It didn't start well for us because we immediately lost a loved one last year when it started. So it was quite difficult. Most of my focus went to mental wellness. So I attended mental wellness through Zoom under Project Steady by teacher Gang Badoy Kapati. So with that, I felt I was also able to improve as an athlete kasi marami akong na-realize na yung patterns ko of my decisions, yung childhood ko. So marami akong natutunan. Marami akong actually natutunan nitong pandemic. Talagang walang laro halos. Walang, in terms of competition, wala talaga. I wasn't able to join any competition. I was actually invited nitong May and June to go to the UK for 2 big competitions. It was my first time to be invited in both prestigious tournaments, but I decided to decline the invitation because of the situation nga ngayon. Medyo mahirap, lalo na if sa UK. And then if I get stranded, let's say for example, biglang mag-lockdown, and I'll be stranded in the UK, ano iniisip ko, nako, ano yung panggagastos ko doon, and anong mangyayari sa akin doon. Yes. When I look at it, marami rin namang somehow blessings.
You know, before the pandemic struck, you were coming off a busy December 2019, being part of the 2019 SEA Games and then the 9-ball World Championship. Is it safe to say that missing the grind is the biggest drawback of the crisis?
I thought it would be that. But I think the biggest drawback would, I think, be losing loved ones, losing people that I know. And of course, me as an athlete, yun talaga. Is that, syempre, sanay tayo na the everyday grind, tama ka. But ako as a person, I think more on yun. At saka yung hindi ko matatanggi na malaki rin talaga yung fear because of the uncertainties nga of our situation. Because of the pandemic, maraming hindi pwedeng gawin. Hindi pwede magsama-sama ang pamilya. I would say siguro yung pag-process was, again, kasi I attended an MWF, mental wellness, under Project Steady. And through that, I was able to somehow process yung mga nangyari, and through those people na naging friends ko na rin during this pandemic, I somehow had the safe space wherein I could let out yung mga emotions ko. Yun nga parang people na you don't know. Alam mo yun yung simula. But ngayon, we've become friends, and some of which hindi ko pa nami-meet personally. So through that every day na may iba-ibang topics na dinidiscuss si Teacher Gang. Through that, dahan-dahan na nare-realize ko yung mga nangyari, and I was able to, again, see kung ano yung pattern of my decisions.
During the pandemic, have you had the chance to look back on your career and accomplishment as a pool player, just to at least relive or to reignite your love for the sport, and as well as divert yourself from the emotional barriers that contains you from maybe moving forward?
Tama yung sinabi mo na from a busy and productive December 2019, napaisip din talaga ako. Napaisip ako about my career and medyo ano nga to sneak preview of my retirement. Na what if wala nang laro? What will I do? Will I continue to be in the path of billiards, or will I have a different path talaga, like I don't know, maybe a business. In terms of me playing, iniisip ko rin kung ano yung mga pwede ko improve. So there were times na nanonood ako ng games, nanonood ako ng mga yun yung the best na I could do kasi nung una meron akong table, but hindi kasi maganda yung level ng table ko.
Mhm.
So I decided to, actually it wasn't the fault of the table, it was the fault of the venue because the place that I have, hindi maganda yung foundation. So hindi siya magawa na maging level. So I decided to have it fixed. And good news is it's done already. Next week, ilalagay na yung mesa ko. So I'll be going back to serious training. So it will be as if back to like the 8-hour grind per day.
Now let's talk about your career. Let's go down memory lane. Some people may don't know, but actually your father introduced you to the sport. Maaari ba natin balikan yung time na yon? Kasi maraming magulang na hesitant to allow their children to play pool because of, the side betting aspect of the sport or the side trip. Pero looking back, is it safe to say that you were in a very fortunate situation of having a family who's open-minded and progressive?
Yes, definitely. I consider myself really blessed because I had the pair of parents that I have na very supportive. Actually, totally baliktad nga Totally baliktad dun sa usual na bawal ang billiards because others would perceive it as a vice. Na if you're into billiards, bulakbol sa pag-aaral, yun yung ibang mindset ng tao. Especially before, but I believe now, because of the help of our champions like Tatay Efren, Coach Django, and the likes, nagkakaroon na ng ibang image ang billiards. It was really my father na nag-influence sa akin na to pursue the sport kasi ang gusto ko talaga was to be a CPA lawyer. Yun talaga yung gusto kong marating. But I took up accountancy in UST. BS in accountancy. So, yun na talaga yung path ko na akala ko. But I guess there were other plans for me. Tapos, tama ka na if not for my mom and my dad, I don't think I would be here in this position right now because they really provided the opportunity for me. My father would really influence me and my mom would pay for everything. When I started nung 12, na-recognize na ng parents ko na may God-given talent ako. So, they decided to get a table at home. Dahil, one of the reasons naman talaga dahil hindi na kami nakikita ng mom ko dahil kami ng papa ko nasa laman ng bilyaran. Nasa Cebu kami. I was born in Cebu. And then, lumipat lang kami ng Manila after graduating elementary. But nung nasa Cebu kami, kahit sinulog, naghahanap kami ng bilyaran ng tatay ko ng bukas. Ganun kami talagang sobrang into the game. So my mom decided na hindi pwede to, hindi pwedeng hindi ko kayo nakikita. From there, pag nag-ensayo ako mag-isa nung bata ako, pikon ako. Pag nagkakamali ako, inaampas ko yung tako sa table, so maya't maya bali yung mga tako ko. So, yun, pati yun, they would provide equipment. They really gave me that opportunity for me to pursue this sport.
From what I've heard, kasi bumabiyahe pa kayo na Cebu to watch events here in Manila. What's that one event or one athlete that made you realize that this is what I wanted to do for the rest of my life?
The funny thing is that ang tagal bago ko na-realize yan. Actually, this siguro I would say mga baka late 2000 lang, mga 2007 because as I mentioned, billiards was really a hobby for me. It was something that was fun. It replaced basketball na first love ko because hindi nga ako tumangkad. So billiards was really something na I find joy in doing. But when it became more serious, parang medyo na-turn off ako. Sa totoo lang, medyo na-turn off ako sa billiards kasi yung dad ko naging serious na, tapos nagagalit na sa akin. So parang sabi ko, dati fun lang to. Tapos ngayon, ba't ganito na? Parang nagiging cause na ng heartache, nagiging cause na ng stress. So sabi ko, there was a time na in college na sabi ko, sabihin ko, focus ako sa pag-aaral. So yun yung nangyari. I said na I want to focus with on my studies to stop playing billiards. Kasi ayoko na nung stress nung inaaway ako ng tatay ko. Yun, ang plan ko talaga was really to go the corporate path. But again, my father decided otherwise. Pag-graduate ko ng college, gusto ko sanang mag-review for the board exams and all that. But binigyan ako ng patibong ng tatay ko. Sabi niya sa akin, I'll give you a business. Sabi ko, ayoko. Nung sinabi niya, I'll give you a car. Yun, sige, okay. Hindi na ako mag-CPA lawyer, magbibilliards. Nag-call center ako for a year. Tapos, but mostly, email support. Sabi ko, ngayon nung na-realize ko na talagang billiards was meant for me. Sabi ko, ang galing, kasi pati yung pag-i-English, talagang sa call center, talagang tinrain ako para pag pumunta ako na ibang bansa, kaya kong kausapin yung mga kalaban ko. So sabi ko, every bit of preparation, talagang ginawa ng Diyos para sa akin. Talagang dito talaga yung path ko. I believe na siguro dito ako somehow motivate or inspire people or influence people in a good way siguro. Kaya dito ako dinala.
Rubilan, did your career turn out the way you had envisioned it at a young age?
Well, at a young age, kasi I didn't have any goals in terms of, kasi nga, ang gusto ko talaga was to be a CPA lawyer. I wanted the tough decisions sa corporate world. Gusto ko yung mga make or break decisions ng mga kumpanya. Yun yung gusto ko. Gusto ko based on facts, based on numbers, I'll make those difficult decisions. Yun yung mga gusto ko. But when I started representing the country, in 2002, I played in a tournament in Singapore, and fortunate enough, I was able to win it. Beside Tatay Efren sa men's division, ako naman sa women's division. But at that time, I wasn't fully convinced yet kasi sabi ko, ang konti ng opportunity. Siyempre, iniisip ko, di ba, yung parang, how will it be financially rewarding for me? Kasi accountant nga, so parang, di ba, iniisip ko din yung mga part na yun. The funny thing is, nung time na iniwan ko yung call center job ko, wherein I was earning almost 20,000, naisip ko nung time na yun, medyo malaki na yun kasi wala na akong responsibilidad dati. I got the slot for the national team. Actually, I qualified for the national team, and the sweldo was 4,000. Di ba? For someone na very, very, parang conscious in terms of the decisions pagdating sa finances. Biglang, di ba? Siguro nag-start lang ako mag-envision to be a world champion when I won both gold sa 2005 SEA Games. Doon ko naisip na, I won sa ASEAN. Maybe I can take on the world. Parang gano'n. So yun, 2006, my first time to play in the World Championships. Masama yung nilaro ko kasi sabi ko, hindi pala madali. Sabi ko, hindi pala pwedeng kumbaga sa aral, hindi pala pwedeng parang stock knowledge. Alam mo yun, yung parang kailangan pala, you really have to work hard for it. So 2007, I played my second World Championships and I was able to finish second sa World Championship. So doon ko na-realize, and I had a vacation in Cebu. Pumunta ako ng Taoist Temple. Meron yung hinahagis. Tapos yes or no, then maybe. So ang tanong ko was, will I be a world champion? Paghagis kong ganun, nakalagay, ganun, maybe. Sabi ko, talaga naman, no? So yun yung medyo sumasagi na sa isip ko. Nagkakaroon na ako ng goal, nagkakaroon na ako ng, although it wasn't a paved path for me. So marami rin yung parang nag-decide na ako to be an athlete talaga. And then biglang, what if hindi? So nagnegosyo. So parang maraming mga nangyari sa career ko.
But when was the time that it occurred to you that you're now in an important piece of Philippine sports courtesy of your achievements in billiards? Or does it still feel surreal that your name will forever be etched in Philippine sports history?
Parang for me, I'm still that athlete na Sumusubok lang. Alam mo yun?
Mm.
I'm just that athlete na nagtatrabaho, and then it's really blessed to be able to make this part of my journey. But hindi pa talaga nagsisink in fully. I guess siguro pag the time na siguro na magre-retire ako. But right now kasi hindi ko pa rin nararamdaman na I'm at the peak of my career.
Mm.
I still feel na I'm still doing that climb na papunta pa rin. Because ang goal ko naman talaga is consistency. More than the title, more than the championships. Ang goal ko talaga is consistency. And yun nga before the pandemic, I felt na somehow my game became more consistent. But with this setback of the pandemic, I don't know what's going to happen. But all I know is that when it comes to work, yun naman talaga ang panlaban ko, is that masipag ako when it comes to working, training, yun. And pinag-aaralan ko. I don't just go out there and do it just say na, oh, I'm doing something. Hindi ganun. It's always, oh, I think gagawin ko. Why am I doing this? How does this affect my game? How does this affect me towards my path or towards my goal? So, yeah.
We discover obstacle course racing. And we look back on the days of glory of six-time world speed shooting champion Jet Dionisio.
Bahagi na ng buhay nating mga Pilipino ang sports. Mula sa panahon ng unos, sa tamis ng tagumpay, sa kabila ng pagbabago ng buhay, ang Philippine Sports Commission ay patuloy na maglilingkod sa sambayanan at atletang Pilipino.
You've seen it in training videos on YouTube and indoor sport which pits man-to-man made challenges. What is the future of obstacle course racing? Nisi Casiano investigates.
Welcome to Team Pilipinas. I am Nisi Casiano. Despite the exclusion of obstacle course racing or OCR from the 2021 Southeast Asian Games in Hanoi this year, the Pilipinas Obstacle Sports Federation has come up with ambitious plans and programs that should keep its athletes busy in the years to come. This afternoon, POSF President Alberto Agra shares his vision for the sport that's gaining popularity worldwide. Attorney Agra, welcome to Team Pilipinas, and we're glad to have you on the program today.
Good afternoon, Nisi, and to all your viewers, magandang hapon.
Sir, the 2019 SEA Games was a coming out party for the sport of OCR. The country took home 6 gold medals, 3 silvers, 1 bronze in 6 events.
For us in obstacle sports, we're used to obstacles, we're used to challenges, we're used to hurdles. So even if there's this pandemic, there's this crisis, we look for and capture these adversities and convert them to opportunities. No? Just to share a term, Nisi, we call it, and I learned this during the early part of the pandemic, the term is advertunity. No? Meaning there are opportunities in adversities. And I'd like to think that we were able to do that in our federation. And we continue to do so in our federation.
OCR is not just a race. It's a multifaceted sport that requires regular activity. Was there a program that POSF put in place at the beginning of the pandemic to ensure that athletes would stay physically and mentally active despite staying indoors for the majority of the lockdown?
Right now, once upon a time, even our international federation was called World OCR, but now it has changed to World Obstacle because now we've expanded the sport to cover a lot of sub-disciplines. We're now calling the sport obstacle sports because OCR is now just one discipline. The other disciplines are ninja, The main difference between the two is ninja, there's no running. While in obstacle course racing, there is running in between obstacles. Just last night, we formed our 3 national teams. One for ninja, one for OCR short, and another one for OCR long. And there are 3 in terms of the physique, the physical capacities of the athletes. We have coaches for obstacle proficiency. We have coaches for endurance. And we have coaches for strength and conditioning. But of course, these are just the physical aspects. In obstacle sports, like in life, you have to be resilient. You have to be emotionally stable. You have to be a good social person. So these are the various aspects of being an obstacle sports athlete. Actually, we never stop training, whether at the elite level or the regular members of the federation. We had a lot of online workout sessions. We had a lot of online competitions, like the most number of burpees, the longest dead hang. We even had online or virtual races. And depends on the timing when gyms are open. We have this facility, which is Pretty Huge Obstacles, which is the biggest facility in Asia. So we have events there. And when that was closed, we had events at La Mesa Nature Reserve. So these events, we call them workouts. They are exclusive to the members of the federation. And we had to organize these workout sessions so that we will be able to choose the members of our national team. Nisi, just to, like last Sunday, we had a 70-kilometer ultra obstacle course race workout session. That was an important event because that is our last qualifier for our, what we call the OCR long. We've been active even during the pandemic. Everybody had to adjust, had to pivot in terms of their training sessions, but they had their own regular sessions guided by our coaches. So again, they continue to have their training on endurance, on obstacle proficiency or physical exercises, and strength and conditioning.
Sir, can you walk us through the process of how tedious it was to get the approval from concerned agencies to hold this kind of events?
We had 2 qualifier workout sessions for the 3 sub-disciplines. So our earliest event, I think, was last February, and our last event was last Sunday. So two qualifier workout sessions exclusive to our members for every sub-sport or sub-discipline. When we formed our second batch, our national team for this 1 year period, we had a change of guards, not for everybody, but of the 16 athletes that we had and competed in the 2019 Southeast Asian Games, there were 10 who are still part of the current national team, and now we have 6 national athletes, new national athletes. So we had to substitute those 6 in the previous list. So we now have a mix of old and new members of our national teams. Because of the changes in the international federation level, we have 3 national teams for 3 of the disciplines. The cast is not yet complete because we are going to create 3 more national teams. One for adventure racing, one for parkour, and another one for our para athletes. That's number 1.
Wow.
Number 2, we will hold bubble trainings. This will be combined with what we call time trials. Why is that important? Because we plan to send our 3 national teams for Ninja, OCR Long, and OCR Short, we have lined up 6 events this year, 2 in Las Vegas, 2 in Russia, 1 in Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania, and another one in Greece. So for these 3 teams, they will have 2 international events each for this year. We have world events, 1 in Russia, the one in Las Vegas. These are world championships. The 6 events that I mentioned for this year, these are all world championships.
Attorney Agra, the POSF has been very active in promoting the sport by partnering with different agencies and institutions. Most recently, you signed a memorandum of undertaking with the Mandaue City local government. Also, the POSF spearheaded the Obstacle Sports for Everyone campaign. By the looks of it, the goal here is to turn the sport from a niche sport to a household sporting staple. But how optimistic are you that it can happen maybe in the near future?
Well, actually, Nisi, it is happening. We have a lot of we have a number of memorandums of understanding that we have signed with local governments, with universities and schools, and other institutions. We recently had one with Mandaue. After that, we had one with Butuan City.
Yes.
We already have one with Baguio. We will soon have a permanent obstacle park in Valenzuela City.
Wow.
We have a permanent obstacle course inside the Philippine Military Academy. So we are promoting the sport with local governments. Soon we will introduce obstacle sports as part of the physical education curriculum of around 20 schools. So we will be holding very soon, this coming August, an online certification course for PE instructors of these 20 or so schools. We're also talking to military camps. Hopefully, some of the military camps all over the country will be hosting and organizing obstacle course events. Another partnership is with the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. They already have what we call a box. We have this 10 by 10 feet by 10 feet by 10 feet box with 8 obstacles and 4 exercise stations. So this is part of our obstacle sports for all everywhere. We already have a box in Boracay, in Cebu, in Cotabato, in Laguna, of course in Metro Manila. Soon we will have in Zamboanga, in Iligan, in Palawan, and actually Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, so that we will have inter-school events, inter-local government unit events, university games on obstacle sports.
Now it has become a sport recognized by the POC and the PSC. How happy are you with the development of the sport in the country, and where do you see the sport in 5 to 10 years?
One, I'm very happy, but I believe we can be happier. We're never contented with what we have. We have a long-term plan. We have a lot of international events. Hopefully, God willing, we will be part of all Southeast Asian Games, all Asian Games, all Olympic Games, all Paralympic Games. And again, we'd like to promote the sport everywhere. Local governments, camps, plazas, malls, schools, so that everybody can be part of this growing sport, and hopefully help them prepare and overcome their own life obstacles.
And that's Attorney Alberto Agra of the Pilipinas Obstacle Sports Federation. Again, I am Nisi Casiano, sumasaludo sa atletang Pilipino. And this is Team Pilipinas.
And we look back on the days of glory of 6-time world speed shooting champion Jet Dionisio.
Bahagi na ng buhay nating mga Pilipino ang sports. Mula sa panahon ng unos, sa tamis ng tagumpay, sa kabila ng pagbabago ng buhay, ang Philippine Sports Commission ay patuloy na maglilingkod sa sambayanan at atletang Pilipino.
As a teenager, Jethro Dionisio was so dominant that the organizers of the World Speed Shooting Championship stopped inviting him. And much later, the six-time world champion dedicated 8 years of his career to shotgun so he could represent the country in the Olympics. Bill Velasco reviews the Jets' days of glory.
Kilalanin natin na isa sa mga tunay na alamat ng Philippine shooting at isang multi-titled multiple world champion si Jethro Dionisio. Magandang araw sa iyo, Jet. Kumusta na?
Okay lang, magandang araw sa lahat, Bill. Long time no see.
Okay, balikan muna natin, Jet, yung simula mo bilang isang shooter, no? Paano ka naakit sa shooting ng bata ka?
Bali, nung unang-una kasi yung dad ko, yun mahilig sa shooting. Siya yun involved sa sport. Sumasama-sama ako, tigabuhat ng bag niya, gano'n, tinutulungan ko siya. Hanggang sa nainganyo ako ng mga barkada niya. Then, yun, tuloy-tuloy na. Ako na yun nagpatuloy ng sport niya. Medyo nag-stop na lang siya, sideline, naging coach ko siya, hanggang sa ngayon.
Okay. Pero di ba ang mga bata karaniwan takot sa maingay? Bakit hindi ka natakot sa ingay ng putok ng baril?
Actually, takot din ako lalo na yun na pinaka first shot na nagawa ko, no? But nung nasubukan ko na yung unang-una, okay na, naging natuwa na, nag-enjoy ko na. Siyempre, nung bata rin tayo, ang laruan ko rin, mga baril din, toy guns. So nung nasubukan ko yung tunay, nagustuhan ko.
How was it growing up as somebody who was, a practical shooter and other kids were probably playing basketball or doing other things or playing parlor games? How was that? Did you fit in?
Actually, it's a bit different. It needs getting used to. Yun nga, nabanggit mo nung growing up, high school, actually elementary pa, yung friends ko are out on weekends for gimmicks. Ako naman sleeping early, waking up the next day to train and competition. No? So, yun yung mga sacrifice na nangyari. But as the years went by, ngayon, dun mo ma-appreciate Yun nagawa mong sacrifice before.
You won your first world championship as a teenager. Ano yung experience na yon na pumunta ka sa ibang bansa, world championship to, tapos nanalo ka?
Yun ang talagang unforgettable para sa akin. Yung pinaka first world championship ko. This was in 1990. 17 years old ako niyan. Siguro nag-try ako ng mga twice. Nag-junior champion ako, tapos nag-top 5 ako. No? Until on the third try, dun tayo nanalo ng world championship. Sobrang masaya. Nung nanalo ko, parang hindi pa pumapasok sa akin na talagang nanalo ko. No? It sunk in siguro maybe after a day na. At marami akong kasama ng mga Filipino who is very active also in shooting then na went there to support nung nagko-compete ako. Sobrang iba yung feeling.
You won 3 in a row. What was it that you were doing different? Ano yung pagkakaiba ng training mo? Tsaka ikaw pa yung isa sa mga pinakabata. Ano yung pinagkaiba ng ginagawa mo na nakatatlong sunod ng World Championship ka tapos sa ibang grupo na nakatatlong World Championship ka ulit?
Siguro yung training ko with my dad who's my personal coach. So pinag-aaralan namin talaga yung mga kalaban namin. No? Ito yung sport kasi na dominated by the mga Americans. Kaya hindi rin sila makapaniwala na isang Asian and at a very young age na nandun, nakikipag-compete sa kanila. I think yung training lang, yung dedication na ginawa namin ng dad ko, na nagta-travel kami doon sa States, nasa motel kami for months to train. Yun, hard work.
What about the cost? Alam naman natin, unang-una dyan, yung bala, no? Napakamahal, kaya maraming hindi rin makapasok sa shooting. How was it, that you were absorbing that cost? Why was it worth it to you?
Well, actually, yan, lahat yan because of my dad. No? Actually, that's the reason why he stopped. Kasi nga, he allotted yung mga bala na supposed to be gagamitin niya for his hobby. Talagang inalat niya yan para sa akin. At first, talagang mahirap. Kami talaga yung nag-spend for our own. Diba? Then yun nga, until when I won my first championship, yan, medyo may mga tulong na dumating until I shot as a professional for 2 years sa Amerika. Yun, nagkaroon ako ng sponsors para sa lahat ng expense ko for shooting. But nung una talagang dad ko ang nagsusupport talaga sa akin. Then kaya naman siguro namin natagalan kasi nakita niya na may potential, nakita ng mga friends niya na may potential. Then ako naman personally I like it also. Tinanong nga niya ako, so how serious am I? No? Sabi ko, yeah, well, I'm serious. Let's try this. We study our opponents. Then ito nga, sinuwerte nga tayo.
May pinag-uusapan tayo dati, no, that there are a lot of public misconceptions about shooting na parang it's not that safe, napaka irresponsibleng sport, but on the other hand, it's actually one of the safest sports in the world.
Correct. And I believe so, no? I think it's the opposite of yung mga misconception. Kasi since araw-araw namin kasama yung baril, araw-araw namin pinuputok, so the sport shooters alam na alam kung ano yun na kumbaga damage, no, na magagawa niyan once na mishandled mo. Kaya the more na ingat ang mga sport shooter when it comes to firearms.
For a long time, you also competed in shotgun, no? Because it's an Olympic sport. What made you transfer to shotgun? Because you were doing very well, no, as a pistol shooter.
I stopped shooting pistol noong 99. I started noong 83. Siguro through the years na rin na tagal ko na into pistol. I got married that year, 99. So sabi ko, let's try something else. And sinasabi rin ng mga friends ko, no, let's try something different, no, sa Olympics. Kasi iba talaga ang pag sinabing Olympian ka, an Olympic experience, representing your country, recognized by the country. So I tried it in 99. I shot shotgun for 8 years.
So what was that experience like? Siyempre, ibang-iba sa pistol na shotgun, iba yung injury mo sa balikat, iba rin.
Oo, ito iba na naman to kasi kumbaga it's a perfection game since Olympic event siya. Talagang may world record na hinahabol. And luckily I was fortunate enough to excel also, no. Kaya dito ko nga na-experience yung Olympics ko, which is in 2004 sa Greece. Doon ako nag-participate nung anniversary, no, where it all started. So I was lucky to be part of that Olympic Games in 2004. Yun, experience lang ng opening ceremony as yun athletes ng different countries walked around the oval and being introduced. So kakaiba talaga.
Yeah, because a lot of people take it for granted dahil matagal ka ng atleta. They would assume that you had competed for the national team, but that was actually your first time to be at the Olympics, no?
Yes, my very first time, and very unforgettable. It's different because for pistol I've been to a lot of matches, world competitions, world matches, but when it comes to representing your country officially, iba pa rin.
Okay, looking at how things have moved forward since you competed, anong pinagkaiba ng shooting ngayon kaysa nung kasagsagan nyo?
Sa tingin ko, aside from the technology in equipment-wise. Tsaka siguro for the ammunitions, no? Wala naman masyado pagdating sa discipline. Ngayon lang, mas marami ng young kids who are getting into the sport, who are luckily being supported by their parents. No? Kasi nung una tayo, nung 80s, talagang very rare yung bata. Kasi nga, it involves a firearm. So ngayon, it's being supported by lots of parents, which is good. So marami tayong young kids na who's into it also and who excels in the sport.
Thank you so much for your time, Jet. As always, it's nice talking to you. It's been a while.
And that's this week's episode of Team Pilipinas. I am Sel Guevara. Join us every Saturday at 4 p.m. only here on PTV para sa Bayan. And always remember, we are all on the same team. We are all Team Pilipinas. See you next week.